In your stage 1, you literally have, it lasts about 5 to 10 minutes long. Your stage 2 will last about 20 minutes. Your stage 3 and 4 can last about 30 minutes. Stage 4 is when bedwetting will start to occur. So in stage 4, sleepwalking, bedwetting will occur in stage 4. Okay, stage 4 has sleepwalking and bedwetting. Stage 5, completely paralyzed, body does its full repairment. Heart rate decreases, temperature decreases. Brain activity increases. Heart rate decreases, body temperature decreases, body becomes paralyzed, brain activity increases. Did everybody get that? Yes, no? Okay, one more time. All right. Heart rate decreases, body temperature decreases, body completely paralyzed, brain activity increases. Okay, let's go back for a minute and look at the different stages. If you look at your REM sleep, can everybody see the REM sleep? If you look at REM sleep, it looks pretty similar to you being awake. Okay, if not almost exactly identical to the drowsy stage. Literally, the brain actually thinks you are awake, even though the body is asleep. All right, how many of you ever had dreams where you wake up crying, you wake up upset, you wake up mad at the world? Nothing actually occurred, but the brain thinks all of this really happened. So as far as the brain is concerned, you really did have a fight, you really did have an argument with someone because the brain was fully active during your sleep. All right. We talked about the stages. Typical night of sleep, you're actually going to go through different cycles. So nobody stays in REM sleep the whole time. Okay, you kind of go throughout different cycles, so you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, REM, 1, 2, 3. Every time you grab the pillow, every time you roll over, you are now out of REM sleep. Okay, how many of you are very light sleepers? All right, that means you rarely ever hit REM sleep. All right, you might hit REM sleep for maybe 5 to 10 minutes a night. And this is just because your body has to get there just so it can repair, but you spend most of your time right around 3. Yeah. Once you get it, you know you just got into it, because the minute somebody wakes you up, you're really upset and you're like, finally, I was there, because you spent a lot of your time in 3. Okay, you're in deep sleep, but you're not deep enough to actually repair. All right. Functions of sleep. How many of you get at least 6 hours of sleep a day, a night? Only a couple of you. All right. 4. At least 4. Oh my. All right. More than 8? 1. Paid? Yeah. Not 2? You love to sleep. Yeah, me too, but it just doesn't work like I want it to. So only a couple people sleep 8 hours. As an adult, all you do need is 6. 6 hours. Yeah. All you need is 6. As an adolescent, you needed 12. You can fully function on 6 hours. Anything over 6 hours is like, Paige, I just fell in love with it and I just really want to spend a lot of time in this area. Okay? But if you ever realize how many of you try to go to sleep at night, Saturday you're like, I'm sleeping in. It's going to happen this Saturday. And 7 a.m. you wake up and look at the clock and you go, darn it, I done woke up before I wanted to. Now you lay there and you lay there and you lay there. When you finally get up, you're more exhausted than if you had just got up. Literally because your 6 hours was all that was needed. Teenagers need 12. 10 to 12 hours. Yeah. And that's because they're developing at such a rapid, teenagers need 10 to 12.
Yeah, I saw an article in the news where a doctor is actually trying to make schools delay starting so that teenagers can get more sleep.
Yep. Literally, because the brain doesn't stop developing to 25. So that rapid time between 12 and 18 is huge in regards to development in just the body and the brain. They need all the rest they can get.
My son's only 10, and I can do UK, I can break it.
Yeah, when you could tell they sleep hard. They sleep. They spend most of their time in REM sleep. You can lift their arm, it's just gonna fall because they spend most of their time in REM sleep because they have a lot of repairing to do. They're growing.
Is that what they're, when he's talking and stuff, is that when
He's actually in 4. The minute he starts talking, he's in 4. The minute that he starts to sleepwalk, he's in 4. If he's in REM, he's doing nothing. It's just kind of like he's just literally. I mean, his body has no activity at all.
he laughs, most of them laugh?
Yeah, he's in 4. Induced sleep. Induced sleep usually will put them. They're technically not in REM sleep, but the brain is so impaired right now that it gives you the idea of REM sleep. Some of them might go into REM sleep and sleep better intoxicated than ever before, and that's just because brain. The reason why a lot of you can't sleep is brain activity. The minute you go to sleep, you start thinking, darn it, I forgot. Oh, and tomorrow I gotta, oh, don't forget. And activity. Once you're intoxicated, all thought processing of that sort is gone. It's just literally like, I'm done. So some of them are in REM, but most of them are in like 3-4. They're in a deep sleep. Because if you move them, they'll be like, which means they still got activity.
My brother said if he's drinking, no sound or anything, like he could do it then use it right in the ear.
He's REM. He's straight REM. Sleeping medication. Ambien takes you straight into REM sleep. But Ambien would bring you in a 4 really quick when you start sleepwalking. So it has this components that it's a horrible. If you don't go to sleep on Ambien, usually we'll test you for ADD because it means your body literally transforms the drug into a stimulant instead of a depressant. Yeah, so literally ADD, ADHD, they take Ambien and it's like, woo, let's go. Compared to a person that doesn't have ADHD, you're like, can I barely keep my eyes open? It's just because when your chemical changes it and switches it over, just like caffeine switches to a depressant. To a person that doesn't have ADD or ADHD, it does a stimulant. So it's just like something in the brain switches the drug and confuses it.
They put me on Ambien because I have insomnia, and it did that to me. So they put me on antidepressants.
Yep, they did the opposite. Yeah. It's just the brain does its, its own little thing. As you age, you require less sleep. But there's a catch. Once you hit 65, you then resort back to needing more sleep. Okay, so from the ages of 18 to 65, you're going to need less sleep. Hit 65, it reverts back. You now need more sleep. Everything reverts. You even start walking different. You go back into Pampers and everything. Old people, they go to sleep at like 6 though. The minute the sun goes, it's just horrible. Yeah, she's might be conditioned herself, but if you ever notice most older people, 6 or 7, they're done for the day. They do nap a lot.
My grandma, she was there like, how long did she go for, like 12 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. It's just the age, I guess. Before my grandmother passed, I think she took about 3 naps a day and claimed she was taking none. She was resting her eyes every time. And I'm like, Grandma, you started snoring while you was resting your eyes. And she was like, I seen it all. I don't snore. Yeah, I ain't snoring. Oh, yeah, you were. Like, woo, you was calling somebody. But it's just how they do it.
And no falling out. I was just resting and over on her lap.
Yeah. They cannot own that. It's just like, it's okay to say you was taking a nap. But it's like they just can't do it. I don't know. Understand, while you're under stress, you do need more sleep. The higher the stress, the more the sleep needed. The reason why, the stress you are under, we're going to learn this in a couple more chapters, the stress you are under will actually decrease your immune system. Once you sleep, it will allow you to increase your immune system. So it kind of contradicts. The decrease of the stress is going to make you sicker, but as you sleep, you can actually repair it a lot faster. So you won't have the colds, you won't have the pains the stress actually brings. So right around final exam time, this is why they used to always tell you, if you ever took an ACT or SAT, they literally say, please get enough sleep. The reason why is because the immune system will start to trigger some issues if you don't. Okay? Another thing that sleep has a huge impact on is your ability to learn and remember. If you have the wrong amount of sleep, you'll have a very hard time learning. Okay, it just won't grasp as fast, which is another reason why we tell teenagers need more sleep, because they have a lot to learn. Okay, they're in school, they think they know everything, but if you think about it, you guys spend about 2 hours a day in school, 3 hours a day, 2, 3, 3. Macy, what are you doing? 6. Okay, 6 classes. You might as well just say you back in high school again for 6 classes. But most people spend about 3 to 4 hours a day. Your adolescent is spending 8 hours a day. So you can imagine how much learning. Now, their learning is not just done in a classroom. Because when they come home and you say, what did you do today? Classroom is not what they're going to tell you. Okay? And they probably would, I got some homework, but they're going to tell you everything that happened in the hallway. Who did this? Who said this? Where this happened? What's going to happen next week? Literally because that's part of their learning. It's the social aspect. So they've literally got 8 hours packed full of learning, socially and academically. They need rest. Okay? Dreams. Now this is really important to us in the psychological world in regards to, we actually look at dreams as activity that is undealt with. Okay? Dreams are activity that is undealt with. Now there's 2 different theories you're going to learn about dreams. In regards to dreams, dreams can be in black and white or color. You do dream in black and white or color. Okay? You do have pleasant dreams, and you also have nightmares. You also have night terrors. So you have pleasant dreams, nightmares, night terrors. Dreams are processing. It is a cognitive function. You are actually processing in your dream. Your dreams are actually a processing of your brain. All right. Now, Freud was the biggest person who really believed in dreams. He was huge. He's the first theory you're going to find out and learn. It's the psychoanalytic theory on dreams. Freud felt that a lot of your dreams have what are called day residue. There's some stuff that happened throughout the day that you did not finish with, so unconsciously you finish with them in outside of the dream. So literally, you've got some issues that happen throughout the day. You then insert them into the dream and deal with them there. Does that make sense? That's what he calls his day residue. He also has what's called stimulus incorporation. He literally feels that you take some real components of life and insert it into your dreams. Not all of the components in the dream are real, but you take some parts and put it inside of the dream. Okay? He divides the dreams into 2 parts, the manifest dream and the latent dream. The manifest, that's the actual dream. The manifest dream is the actual dream. It's what you tell people about. The manifest dream is the actual dream. It's what you tell people about. When you describe a dream, you are describing the manifest content. The latent content is the interpretation of the dream. It's the true meaning of the dream. The latent content is the interpretation of the dream, the true meaning of the dream. Now, Freud used a method called free association. And what he does is he takes your manifest content and he creates a list. So you tell him the dream and he takes different components of it. He then does what is called a free association, which literally means randomly we just take the words that you said in this list. Let's just say we said red, blue, clouds, dog, and mom. That was our dream was about some red clouds with a blue dog and our mother. Okay, that was a dream. He then says, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of red? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of blue? Clouds, dogs, mom. He then decides this is the actual meaning of the dream. So this is what your mind is really trying to deal with. They just use this as symbols. Does that make sense? So the manifests are your symbols for the latent actual dream. Okay? On your exam and on your final, you're going to have to, it's a dream and you got to decide, is it the manifest content or is it the latent content? The manifest is the actual dream you tell people about. The latent part is the dream meaning. Got it? All right. Memories of the day, traumatic events, reflections of unconscious desire, all of these are part of why Freud thinks you have these dreams. In regards to memories of the day, that would be your day residue. Traumatic events. He literally feels that there are things that have happened to you throughout your life that you aren't ready to deal with. Because it was so traumatic, you literally kind of repress it, but your unconscious mind knows you really need to deal with it. So it actually deals with all these issues inside of a dream. Okay? And then reflections. He literally says that you have some desires that you want, but because you've taught your mind or taught yourself you cannot have these things, you literally have said, I cannot deal with that. Let's just say, for instance, you have a neighbor who is just gorgeous. You think they're the best looking thing that walked the earth. They're married. What does that mean for you? No. Off limits. But every time you see them, you think, oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Surprisingly, because you consciously say, I can't, unconsciously you keep saying, I desire. So Freud literally says, in your dream, you will literally start to dream about this person to deal with these undesired feelings that you have in your dream world because you can't deal with them in your conscious world. Does that make sense? So you're mad at somebody, you're mad at your boss, you're mad at a person. In your conscious world, you know, I can't say anything to them because it's going to cause problems. In your unconscious world, you can deal with it. You can beat them down, you can shoot them, you can skin them, whatever you feel like you might want to do. Because it's the unconscious part dealing with the trauma from the conscious. If your person passed away, say you have a mother or a spouse that passed away, that's your conscious mind. I can't deal with this right now. Your unconscious mind will then keep having that person reappear in your dreams because you need to deal with the hurt that you can't deal with while you're awake. Make sense? All right. Now, the other model is the activation synthesis model. The activation synthesis model is totally different. Their idea is literally that your dreams are based on activity in the brain, that it's just a stimulus. So literally this one says that there's stimulation in the brain that creates these dreams. There's stimulation in the brain that creates these dreams. They literally say it's your cortex that's taking memory and just creating a story. So your cortex is taking memory, creating a story. Your cortex is taking memory, creating a story. It literally says they are stimulated through neurotransmitters. The activation synthesis model says it is stimulated through neurotransmitters. Your ACH neurotransmitter. It's your neuron production, your chemical production. Okay? All right, we're going to talk a little bit about sleep disorders and then we're going to stop. So sleep disorder, we're going to talk about these three and then I'm going to let you guys go. All right? Insomnia, narcolepsy, and apnea are the ones we're going to talk about. And first we'll hit the nightmares and night terrors. These are things we do not give medication for. Okay? These are the things we do not give medication for. A nightmare is just a terrifying dream. It's a scary dream. Okay? We've all probably experienced this sometime in our life. It's just a bad dream. A nightmare is just a bad dream. It upsets you, you wake up. That's all it is. A night terror is a little bit different. A night terror is a terrifying dream that you are unable to wake from. A night terror is a terrifying dream you are unable to awake from. You feel stuck in it. It's traumatizing. It usually happens to children. They will wake up or appear as if they are awake, They're sitting up in the bed. They're usually screaming, but they are still asleep. Do not wake them up. Okay? Do not shake them. Because the minute you shake them, you now insert the shaking into the terror. All right? You're supposed to call them out, call their name, tell them that they're safe, allow them to wake up on their own. Okay? Everybody seen Nightmare on Elm Street? Freddy Krueger? No? Some of y'all didn't? Okay. Night terrors are Freddy Krueger. Nightmares is just a bad dream. So if you ever saw Freddy Krueger, he's inside the dream, tearing you up, slicing you up, killing you. That's a night terror. Okay, so can you imagine a child that's 5 years old going through this and you now shaking them? Okay, you just don't want to do that to them. Sleepwalking. Sleepwalking, these individuals do complex activity. They can wash dishes. They can drive cars. They can cook dinner. They can clean. They can murder. They can rob. They can do everything as if they were awake, but they are literally asleep. All right? It happens most of the time in their adolescence. Adolescence is usually the time you're going to see the most sleepwalking occur. If you are a texter that texts during your sleep, you are a sleepwalker. Okay? If you pick up the phone and have a conversation while you're asleep, you are a sleepwalker. All right? I've had clients that sleepwalk. They do some serious complex situations. I've had one that literally drove to a restaurant every night. That's how complex they can do. They can go and find the keys. They get into the car. They drive to the restaurant. They return home. They're that aware of what's going on, but unaware of anything. Again, do not wake this person up. Just walk them back to their bed. Now, if it's an adult who can drive, make sure you don't allow them to know where the keys are before they go to sleep, because they will remember why they are asleep. Okay, so if you think you hid the keys and you say, I'm going to hide your keys in the refrigerator so that you won't get them when you sleepwalk. You just told them where the keys were. The minute they start sleepwalking, they're going to the refrigerator to grab the keys. Okay? Sleep talking. I think everybody has someone in their family who did this at one point in time. These individuals have conversations. Sometimes the conversation is to themselves. Sometimes they're just words, just random words. Then sometimes you can actually talk to them and they can have a conversation with you. The problem is they do not recall any of it. Okay? They are just talking in their sleep. Unaware of the conversation, talking. Sometimes it's whatever they're dreaming about. Sometimes it's whatever you ask. You just can ask a question, they'll just start talking to you. It just works this way. Okay? Again, you see it a lot of times in your younger adults, your adolescents. Very interesting time to watch. Now, this is where we start to create and have medication involved. The other ones, no medication. This is where we start to create and have medication. We have insomnia. We have two different types of insomnia. We have sleep onset and early awakening. Sleep onset insomnia, a person has difficulty falling asleep. They want to go to sleep, but they cannot. Okay? Sleep onset, they want to go to sleep, but they cannot. Early awakening, they want to stay asleep, but cannot. Early awakening, they want to stay asleep, but they cannot. They wake up several times throughout the night. Now, this is not that person that if you got a big event, you keep waking up trying to make sure you didn't oversleep. That's totally different. These individuals have this at all times. This is what they live with. This is how their sleep patterns are. They literally always want to go to sleep and can't. They're laying there. They're trying to fall asleep. They just cannot fall asleep. This person will fall asleep and then wake up 10 minutes later. Fall asleep, wake up 20 minutes later. Fall asleep, wake up 10 minutes later. Fall asleep, wake up 5 minutes later. They just cannot stay asleep. Okay? Very exhausting. Either way. Probably two. There's going to be a time the body will go into REM just for repair purposes. But it's probably going to be 10 minutes at most. And they're probably going to be really angry when they wake up because it was probably that best sleep that they had for that one moment. And you're like, I can't get it back. I think you've all had that sleep where you had that great position, you were just getting into it, it was about to be the best sleep ever, and somebody woke you up. And you were so upset. That's how this person feels at all times. Okay? They can never get that spot back. Narcolepsy, rare sleep disorder, but probably one of the weirdest sleep disorders ever. These individuals just fall asleep anywhere. While talking, while driving. They just fall asleep while having a conversation with you. They just go to sleep. Different levels in regards to the intensity. Some will only do it while they're sitting. Some might do it only when they're doing certain activities that cause more brain pressure. So yes and no in regards to, we classify narcolepsy as just narcolepsy, but in regards to what a person triggers, yes. Yeah, it's a trigger. It's usually, if you ever notice, a lot of people fall asleep while driving or riding. It's something about the car movement that intensifies comfort. My boyfriend in the car, the minute we get in the car, he feel like that's nap time. Like, and I can't. If I'm in the car, I cannot sleep because I need to know at all times, are you doing a very good job at your driving? You know, like if you push the brake, I'm like, why'd you push the brake? There was no car here. Why you push the brake? Literally, I start the car, zoom. I look over, he like, can we pull out the garage? I'm probably gonna get him tested. But narcolepsy, I know one student said she had a teacher that had it, and literally the teacher would just fall asleep in front of the class.
We have a daycare teacher at my work that does that. She'll just randomly fall asleep in class. You're watching 30 kids.
That's not good.
One of our like recruiting nurses, we don't. I only was afraid I'm not in her room, but we're outside and she's falling asleep.
Not good, especially with 3-year-olds. Really not good. Can you see him on the front line? Just okay, good. I did have a student, and she says she's on a medication because she would do it when she would start driving. So they literally have given her medication that she must take because she said literally while she was just driving, she would just zone out. And she's almost had quite a few accidents because of it. And some of them don't even sleep a long time. It might be 2 to 3 minutes. Then some might be 10 to 15 minutes. But it is a problem with the brain, so they do have to take medication to do it. But some of them don't want to admit it. Sleep apnea, this is another one that's very scary. This one is scary just because if you're sitting next to the person that's experiencing sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is literally a temporary interruption of a person's breathing. Temporary interruption of a person's breathing. They stop breathing. Okay, and it almost sounds as if they're grasping for breath. They stop breathing for usually no longer than 20 seconds. The problem with this is, depending on how long it is, we're now starting to talk about oxygen depletion from the brain. So we've got to be very careful. So usually what happens in these individuals, they have what's called a CPAP. As the person stops breathing, the CPAP machine will start to breathe for them until they pick up the breathing again.
Is that like sometimes it'll wake me up and I'm like,
Yes.
like I wasn't breathing.
Yes. If you ever watch a person who suffers from it, it's like they grasp and it's almost like finally getting a breath and then they go back to the breathing again.
Sleep, so you don't notice you weren't breathing until all of a sudden.
Yes. Yeah. You feel like somebody's choking you. Yeah. And it usually happens about 2 or 3 times a night. The older you get, the more it will happen. And usually we tell people if you have it or experience this, don't sleep on your back. Try your best not to sleep on your back. Yeah. It helps in regards to the path, the air path. But unfortunately, sometimes if you've got it, you can sleep on your stomach, on your back, on your head, on your shoulders. It's still going to happen. But the CPAP is really important in regards to it because it's literally the throat muscle that has relaxed to the point that it's not contracting to give air flow. Okay. In regards to that, just know that most children have your sleep disorders, sleep terror, bedwetting, and sleepwalking. Bedwetting is huge. It's literally a control issue. Okay, bedwetting is actually a control issue. Also, it's part of sleepwalking. The child usually dreams that they are in the bathroom, going to the bathroom. You've all had that dream where you thought you were at the bathroom. It just so happened you woke up and realized you weren't there. The child continues to dream on. Okay, so sometimes the bedwetting is about control. Sometimes it's just, oops, I thought I was at the bathroom. All right, and we're going to stop there.